Hi, Manong George here, and welcome to the UK. Here are the first 10 things that you need to do when you arrive here in the UK.
Hi, my name is Jabel, and I would just like to say that coming here to the course really helps me gain confidence to take my exam, especially practicing with the equipment and materials. It feels like I'm at the OSCE Center taking my exam.
These rules can change, and for guidance, you should look into the UK government website. Right, first things first, according to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you should find food. Yes, that's right. When you first arrive here in the UK, what you want to look for is the grocery stores and the local stores where you can find your own food. Sometimes, if you are living in a big city, that would be quite easy. However, if you maybe are working in a countryside where there might be less transportation, it's always good to know to find them. If you're not familiar with brands here in the UK, which are the bigger grocery stores, we have this wonderful list for you. Make sure you know your local hospital and you've registered with your GP. If you are like me, who is a Filipino nurse and is not familiar with the GP practice, the GP practice is basically the general practitioner or doctor that is in charge with your health. And here in the UK, all residents, meaning all people that have a UK address, should be registered with their own GP. They would help you if you need any primary healthcare needs, such as any maintenance medications for asthma maybe, or diabetes or hypertension. So that's why it's very important that you register with them. Now, why did I also say that you should find your local hospital? Some nurses that would arrive here in the UK might be working for the care homes, and some care homes, especially in the countryside, might be in areas wherein the access to the local hospital might be a bit too far. It's just great if you also know where would be the local hospital for in case of emergency. Know your local transportation. So most probably when you arrive here in the UK, the first mode of transportations that you would encounter would be the bus and the trains. So let's focus on the bus first. Just remember, for the buses, I would say most buses here in the UK do not take cash or change or coins right now. Some of them would have payment cards, or you could use your contactless card to pay for it. Now, if you're coming from the Philippines and you don't have a contactless credit card or debit card, it might be worth researching on websites, or I'd say forums or Facebook groups, on what might be the preferred payment for your bus lines in your own towns or cities. You can also look into taxis, but bear in mind, taxis in the UK, like with any other country, can be quite expensive. So be mindful when you use them. And for further guides, you can look at a list of these apps that might be helpful when you look at transportation here in the UK. Number 4, get a UK SIM card. Yes, what you want to find is a SIM card that has a good data plan, because at this day and age, most people can call overseas technically for free if you call via the WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger apps, and so on and so forth. So also be mindful that UK SIM cards, you have to research on which place you'd be living in if the provider has a good reception or signal. Because unfortunately in the UK, not all brands have a good reception in all the places in the UK, and it can be even variable even in London. So make your research on that. apply for a bank account and get a debit card. Now, when you apply for a bank account, what they normally need is that you have a UK address and maybe a certificate of employment from your employer. If that might be difficult, look into using online banks that might be easier to get an account from. These online banks would normally have their own apps to cater you, and they are normally easier to log in with. Of course, sometimes there is an advantage. Other banks that are more established, i.e. the high street banks. But I'd say for newly arrived nurses, and if it's quite difficult for you to get high street bank accounts, go for the online digital banks. Apply for a national insurance number. Now, if you're working for the NHS, chances are you wouldn't have to worry about this. This should be sorted out by your employer. Now, if you are working for a smaller company, which might be a care home, just double check that you are registered with the national insurance. Why? Because simply it's a legal requirement. When set up utilities does not just include your Wi-Fi, electric, gas, and water, but also your council tax. Top tip for you guys is that if you can set up direct debit, normally you get a better discount. If you can pay annually, it might be better, but at least a direct debit account would always be best. So, little top tip that you can remember, normally when you first arrive and you find your utilities, you have set it up. Obviously, what you want to do is just to pay it and forget about it. Now, it pays that you actually remember when is the renewal time of your contracts, because it might be worth shopping around, because if not, what happens is these companies would charge you with their regular rates, and regular rates sometimes can be pretty expensive. Okay, so again, bar the council tax, you can't do anything about that. You just have to pay that because it's with the government, it's with your local council. But with your other utilities, Wi-Fi, electric, gas, then please do shop around. Number 8, know your emergency numbers. Just a top tip though, 112 is a common emergency number outside the UK, because I know most nurses, especially coming from the Philippines, I know it's in your bucket list to go around Europe. Number 9, can't stress how important this is. Register with a union. With a union. Union. Yes, very important. Why? Bakit nga ba? If you work in a new country, obviously there's a lot of things that can stress you out, a lot of difficulties. And one of the best things that to have is to know that you are somehow protected and somebody literally has your back if you need help. Unions can provide legal assistance if you need it, employment concern assistance if you need it, and even some unions can offer immigration consultation that is free and help with your registration as well. So some of the most common myths that I've encountered is that when you arrive here as a pre-OSCE nurse, you cannot apply for a union because you're not yet a nurse. Actually, that is wrong. You can already apply as a member of a union even though you're pre-OSCE. And I strongly suggest apply for a union as soon as you come here. By the way, we have a video on why you have to join a union. Do check that out. Most importantly, when you arrive here in the UK as a pre-OSCE nurse, you have to prepare on your OSCE. The OSCE is the single most important and ultimate test that you have to take to become registered as a nurse here in the UK. If you are interested to know what happens if you fail in the OSCE, there's a link down below on that article. Basically, just to say that if you fail your OSCE so many times, then you can be sent back home or you go under the process of what we call curtailment. And that's something that we don't want for any nurse to encounter. If you are interested to know more about the OSCE, we also have a welcome to the UK webinars that we do every month and an introduction to OSCE webinar that we do every month. Both are free for all new nurses, especially Filipino nurses coming here in the UK. And so those are my top 10 things that you need to do when you arrive here in the UK. I hope you've learned something here and that we have helped you out. So we wish you all the best and welcome to the UK. And always remember, Manong knows.
Manong knows best, put your worries to rest when staying in the United Kingdom. Manong knows best.